Good afternoon, everyone. Tony Matthews here, National Account Manager at Defence Relationship Management. I look after defence, aerospace and the automotive companies at the top of the scale who employ the most people with the most locations around the country. Delighted to be here today. It's taken a while to pull this signing together, so I'm really pleased that you could all make it. And it's such a significant signing with a company as huge as Stellantis, with the reach that they've got and their importance in the UK. So I'm really delighted that you're here, Stellantis. Thank you very much for all of you putting the time together, and Mission Motorsport for pulling all the strands together. I really appreciate your hard work. And I'm really looking forward to the influence that Stellantis are going to have across the Armed Forces Covenant community, moving into their supply chain and encouraging those companies to sign the Armed Forces Covenant as well. So without much further ado, I'd like to pass over to David Connell from Stellantis. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Tony, and thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. Stellantis, although a relatively new group, is comprised of many household brands that are very familiar in the UK to many people, such as Vauxhall, Peugeot, Citroën, Fiat, amongst many. We employ around 400,000 people across the globe and around 5,500 in the UK. And I'm really honoured and delighted to be here today to sign this Armed Forces Covenant with yourselves on behalf of Stellantis in the United Kingdom. We are tremendously aware of all of the sacrifice and commitment that our armed forces personnel play in protecting our country, and the personal sacrifices that are made by many within the armed forces, whether it be overseas or whether it be closer to home. And we've seen recently how the armed forces have mobilised to support our country in the tremendous effort to battle the COVID pandemic with the successful vaccination programme. And so this really today is a point for us to be able to mark our commitment to assist members of the armed forces community in return for their service and their sacrifice. Now, within our company, a company comprised of so many people, it's clear that it is people that make the difference in an organisation. And we recognise the wealth of experience, the expertise, and particularly the mindset of determination and resilience of armed forces personnel, and the huge benefit that can bring to a company such as ours. We are really delighted and thrilled to be working with Mission Motorsport and their Mission Automotive Initiative. And I'd like to particularly thank Pa and the rest of the team for their support in making sure that we could get here today, particularly within this difficult environment of the pandemic. Now, it's not just about words. Clearly for us, it's also about moving into action. And our first priority is focusing on how we can support military leavers as they transition from service life to civilian life. And we've already started to work with the Career Transition Partnership in relation with the employment of veterans and service leavers to make sure that we're able to provide access to nationwide vacancies we have within Stellantis from today. And we'll start with our Robinson Day dealer network, which is present across all of the UK. We've also got a tremendous world-class academy within the UK, and Stellantis will be making sure that we provide both vocational training and commercial training where possible to those people who would like to benefit with that opportunity in order to upskill and prepare for civilian life. So having signed the covenant today, we're committed to move forward and to build on the starting blocks, really the building blocks of today's signing, and to develop our relationship further and to make sure that in terms of our HR policies and how we work with yourselves going forward from today, we can go from strength to strength and make sure that we're supporting our ex-forces personnel in every way that we can.
As Assistant Chief of the Defence Staff for Reserves and Cadets, and on behalf of Defence, I would like to thank Stellantis for taking the major step forward of signing the Armed Forces Covenant. In particular, I'd like to thank David Connell, who is here to sign it on your behalf. As a reservist and as an employer, I know only too well the commitment you have just made to defence. My workforce would only fit into 10 of your cars, but the principles are the same. It is all about our people, and Defence shares your values and standards in this regard, and this is what it makes it a really good fit, and thank you again. A word on the covenant. The covenant is a real and much treasured commitment between Defence, those who have served, those who are serving, and their families. It celebrates military service, and thus far over 6,500 organisations across the land have signed the Armed Forces Covenant. As a recipient, I am sure Stellantis will actively support the employment of reservists, service leavers, cadet force adept volunteers and their families. It demonstrates just how dedicated you are to the Armed Forces, its ethos, culture and its values. In Defence, we are proud of our people, and I am absolutely sure that those who have left, who have joined your organisation, will be contributing in a really positive manner on a daily basis. Through today's signing of the Armed Forces Covenant, we thank you for acknowledging that reservists need time away for training. We thank you for your work with the Career Transition Partnership to support employment of service leavers. And we thank you for supporting Armed Forces charities with all your fundraising initiatives. Finally, please enjoy this newfound relationship with one of the nation's most enduring institutions. We both are at the start of this journey, one of which I sincerely hope will be beneficial for both of us on so many levels and will grow beyond our wildest expectations. On behalf of Defence, thank you once again for all that you do for the Armed Forces and for all that you're about to do. Thank you very much indeed.